Um, hey there. I'm Rob. Thought I'd come online and demo my latest creation. This is something that I know that I've been sort of showing videos of for quite a while. You can kind of see it here. I'll show it in a little clearer perspective. Anyways, this is my latest. I found myself a neck. Of course, I'm gonna find the little locking nut things for the Floyd Rose locking nut, but I don't really need it because I don't have a tremolo on here. But this is a neck that I picked up super cheap on Reverb, like super cheap. I think it was like $30 by the time all was said and done when I made the offer and he accepted it, and it's rather spectacular. So I had it sitting around for the last, I don't know, I think when I took a look back at my purchase record, it's been around for almost 2 years, and I have been looking for the right application for it. At one point, what I did do was I cut a body out of solid alder, 3 or 4 piece alder, blank. But the neck is really solid. It's a serious piece of lumber, beautiful maple neck with a rosewood fingerboard, medium German frets, and it's a Framus. That's not one of the super high-end Framuses. It's the Diablo D series, which they're roughly $1,000 guitars, but the hardware on them is really good. So I originally cut an alder body, and it was just a beast, and I quickly reconsidered my options and ended up going with I went with a similar construction to this beast right here, or actually I went with a similar construction to this beast right here, except I reversed it. Instead of having the mahogany sandwiched in the middle, I went with the mahogany on the back. And let me put this back. I went with the mahogany on the back and the black limba in the middle. And then what I did was, because I had some black limba left over from the other one I just showed you, and what I actually did was, instead of having to go through the rigmarole of putting solid pieces together and then routing and going through a whole big mess with that, I actually pre-cut the pieces and left like a good chunk, like a ½ inch or so, around the perimeter of the body on the top and the bottom, and then as you can see, there's a solid piece of cherry that goes down the middle. So the cherry is actually pretty heavy, but it's not as bad as that chunk of alder. So I essentially then I did like an ashtray style route on the mahogany. Mahogany is one piece, no seam, one piece mahogany, 1 inch thick. Put the black limba, and then I book matched. I took the walnut top that I had sitting around. I assembled it a year ago. I think I glued it together for a different project, and then decided to go a different way. That happens, and so took that piece of walnut laid it across the top, and I cut it to the original shape, just as all squared off, and then I built up, because I knew I wanted to do this drop top up here, and also wanted to do the rib cut. So I built up a little bit on the inside because I was afraid there wouldn't be enough of the black limba, and if I was too aggressive, assertive on the arm cut and on the rib cut, I would go right through, and you'd have a hollow, like a sound hole. Didn't want that. So I built up a little bit of the black limba inside, like a very, very thin, maybe less than a 1/4 inch thick, just sort of building up the inside of the curve here, and the same on the rib cut for the mahogany, and then put the top on, and then came back and did my drop top. The finish is actually a pretty modest black to natural burst. So I used a black lacquer on the very edges of this. Went to sort of very light brown, slightly inside, and then stuck with natural, and the walnut already had a sort of a sunburst effect because it was lighter. When I book matched it, I chose to put the lighter sections down the middle and the darker parts of the walnut towards the outsides, and so I was able to really accentuate that effect. And so I think this is a stunning looking instrument. Also did a little bit of a cutaway here on the bottom, so that it is more than comfortable. There's so much room here for the pinky to reach that high 22nd fret. I think it's 22nd. 1, 15, 17, 19, 21, 15, 17, 19, 21, 2, 3, 4. It's a 24 fret neck. Forgot about that. Anyway. The next thing then was to, of course, I did the cutaways. I was looking at what hardware to put on. Ended up with my favorite Schaller Hanes, and that's, the favorite is like a sarcastic term. So it's not very easy to install, and I ended up putting a plate of the walnut in the back to camouflage. But no, it's I put a plate of the walnut in the back, and the bolts go through, and then of course you've got this ferrule plate where the strings run through to the top, just like on a Telecaster, and that plate is grounded, since this is all Teflon or like a very slippery material, but it's non-conductive. I needed to be able to ground the strings out, to put a ground to the strings to ground. I have a higher quality toggle switch for the passive pickups. The Schaller Hanes is a piezo bridge, and unlike that guy right there, instead of going with the Schaller preamp system, I went with the Ghost, the Graphtec Ghost acoustic preamp, and ran everything into that. So at some point in the future, somebody, if they really wanted to, could go and buy the MIDI conversion kit, daughter board that up to the acoustic preamp, separate out the leads for each of the pickups, and they would be able to get put a MIDI signal out, put on a 13-pin multi-pin down here to run to one of the older style Roland units. I have a Dragonfire bridge pickup, mini humbucker, and I have a Wilkinson Alnico 5 neck humbucker. The impedance on this guy is 9.6, 8.4 on the neck, so it's pretty hot. You've got the toggle switch that selects between the two passive pickups, and a mini toggle switch that selects between the bridge, piezo, the mix selector, which is in between, and then up is just the passives. Right now I've just got it set up to run the passives. There's a push-pull switch on this is the volume control for the piezo. There's a pull-push switch to do bright or full range. I prefer the full range. Right now it just sounds nicer. And volume for the passives, tone for the passives. And it's a stereo jack on the out, so if you have a stereo cable that you want to run a guitar cable in the stereo tip ring sleeve, TRS, you can split the signal up and have one signal out as a acoustic tone, the other signal as the passives, run them through separate effects chains, and really go wild with that. Or if you just plug in a standard guitar cable, you can mix the two, which is cool. What else can I say about this? It's all the hardware on the neck is what came with the guitar, so it's just standard issue frameless tuners, and since the original guitar must have had a Floyd Rose on it, it's got the Floyd Rose locking nut system. I did not choose to change it. I actually think it's pretty awesome, and once I find those other two locking pieces, getting this in tune, locking it down will make it like stay in tune forever until you have to change strings. That's about it. This is the good things about the Schallerhornis is that it's very easy to really fine tune the saddle heights and the intonation. Very easy. The piezo pickups sound pretty good, sound really good, and of course, typical to what I do, this is actually a really interesting thing, is two of the bolts, the neck bolts, come in from the back. The other two neck bolts, they all go into anchors or in threaded inserts, and the other two go through the front of the tenon. For a bolt-on neck, it's got a tenon that extends underneath the pickup. Super nice. And two bolts go from the front down into the body where there's threaded inserts there. And that's really solid, really nice. What I had to do to the neck actually surprisingly didn't have very much wear on it at all. So it really just required a really superficial leveling, and then of course I went back and did all the polishing and whatnot to make it really nice and smooth. And right now this thing is set to be like, it's almost too low an action. I would have to I either have to lift up the saddles just, I don't know if I want to do it, lift up the saddles just a titch to make it a little less, it's a little bit too low. It's not that it's buzzing, it's just that it's very low. But it also makes it like super easy to play. Like very little effort at all is required to fret and actually play this instrument, and it's very fast as a result. As I said, the neck is really nice. It's a very nice profile. I'm gonna see if I can find a way to be able to profile, to put some templates to profile the neck, because this is almost ideal for me playing wise. And I'll run through some stuff. What I'm running through right now The output of this is going through like a pretty elaborate signal chain. I'm actually going through, I'm going into my clone that I built from a StewMat kit, the Ghost Drive. The output of that is going into my Vi Legacy drive, which is a couple 12AX7s in a big green box with Vi's sort of glyph logo on it. 3-channel. That's the thing that he takes around live with him. Pretty much when he goes internationally, he doesn't have to take his entire amp rig. He can just take this pedal and it reproduces his tones. And so far, I mean, it's super nice. I had a original, like a Generation 1 Legacy amp, Carbon Legacy amp, that I totally loved, and I was too stupid, and I sold it to buy something else. I think it was like a Boogie Nomad or something, and I should have kept the Carbon. But the Legacy drive's really nice. So it goes from the Ghost Drive to Legacy Drive into my TC, my RK5 Mark II, the Richie Kotzen fly rig has on a single unit that's wide and narrow like a chocolate bar. It has the a Sans amp speaker, like amp emulation system on it. Also, chorus, flange, delay, has an overdrive and a boost. So I'm really quite well set for overdrives and boosts, and the RK5 has been fantastic. I have had it now for 5 years. Holy cow. And the difference between the original RK5 and the RK5 Mark II is the Mark II has an XLR out, so it's super noiseless, going really great for being able to plug into a road rig or the mixing board, and it still has a 1/4 inch output that you can run to a power amp for in-your-face monitor, so like a stage wedge, that's a powered stage wedge or something. And then from there, I am trying to find ways to integrate some new pieces, newer pieces. I have a Tonex, an IK multimedia Tonex. I've been a big fan of the Amplitude software since, oh my God, since 2004. When Dave and Gary Kersner was the first guy I think I ran into virtually when I was working at Microsoft, and I was working with Steinberg on integrating some C++ library changes into Cubase SX3, and Charlie Steinberg, the incredible, very nice German guy who is the father of desktop audio recording. He put me in touch with a bunch of people from Native Instruments, Arturia, IK Multimedia, and a few others, and I was able to get some cool stuff to help me with my both my testing, and they essentially endorsed me in a sort of a interesting way. And result of that was when Windows XP came out and Windows Vista, we were able to demonstrate that you could use a Windows box to do complex home recording, multi-track recording. And the very first CD that I put out was all recorded in the name of my job, of my work with Microsoft, and was the demonstration that you could do a professional quality recording on a Windows box, which at the time was really not believable, I guess you could say. There were a lot of people who were just couldn't were Mac heads, and they refused to believe that Windows could do anything like that. And as a result, I mean, that's how I sort of was able to gain a tiny little bit of notoriety in the prog world, I guess. There's a lot of good friends that I've met who originally purchased that CD and have been very supportive back in 2006. So the Tonex is the hardware extension of the Amplitube system. You can build, you can go and profile your amplifier and speaker and your speaker cabinet and store it and edit it in the Tonex software and download a whole bunch of stuff either into Amplitube as your virtual amp on your Windows box or Mac box, or you can download it into this piece of hardware, this pedal, and it's totally cool. And I still haven't had much chance to really work with this so much, but it's something as I'm revamping my workspace here, I'm going to be making it a lot easier for me to be able to get my hands on. I've got a little table here that I'm going to set up all the pedal board on, so that I can just reach over and tweak it instead of having to bend over and such. So Tonex, everything goes into the Tonex. The Tonex comes out in mono into my Eventide H90, an amazing piece of gear that I really haven't gotten to do any experimentation with, and I've watched Pete Thorne and Tim Pierce and Mr. Shull, Rhett Shull, and a whole bunch of people messing around with it and demoing it, and it's just scary amazing for digital effects. And then recently I just picked up a X-Vibe, courtesy of both the Tonex and the X-Vibe were courtesy of Dave Kersner. And I'm sort of this, I guess I'm still an unofficial endorsee of IK, fantastic stuff. But I've got this X-Vibe pedal. It's an older model. It's not one of the super miniature ones. But I'll be integrating that into the system to do rotary effects and things, and then trying to load it up onto a single pedal board to be able to go and play live at some point in the future, if I can. The that's that. So that's the signal chain. This is this. Let's. I know I've been talking here for like 24 minutes. So let's dive in and let me play you a couple things. So that's the neck pickup, and the Tonex is too far away for me to change the setting. It's set up to be a it looks like it's an OTK 800. I think it's a Marshall amp of some kind. Let me change the view so that you can catch a little bit more of what this looks like, and let's see if that works better for you. Okay. So I've always really liked the sound of the mini humbucker or a P90 on the neck. Mini humbucker has the advantage that it's not going to hum like crazy. Let's take it into the middle. I'm really never usually a big fan of that middle position. It's especially for doing these kind of slash chording kind of stuff. It just seems muddy, but this is really nice. It's definitely got a really nice tone that's really crispy. And then of course now the bridge. So that is the bridge pickup. Let's now drop it into the piezo. Now keep in mind this is going through the Tonex amp profiler signal chain. So it doesn't really sound like it sounds like a acoustic guitar going through an amp, a guitar amp. So and of course mixed together. gonna play the. I'll pull up the switch here, and I'll play the. So it's not so bad. I heard it last night, but. Let's kick on some lead overdrive here. Go back to the neck pickup. So that's it. And I mean, the lead tone that I used here was exclusively the TC Electronics RK5, and again running into the Tonex Marshall profile. Thank you, folks, and I hope that this provided you with an interesting perspective. Like I said, there's we've got a walnut plate here. We've got a walnut control cover. It's a really solid, really nice, well-playing instrument. I did forget to mention these are natural wood walnut pickup rings with maple veneer or maple, I guess you could say not purfling, binding. I took made some natural maple binding for another project I had some left over, and so I actually ran it inside the pickup rings as an accent. Especially looks stunning around the black pickup. Anyways, folks, thank you very much for joining me and showing patience with me, and I hope this thing will probably go up for sale here really soon. If you're interested, I cannot emphasize enough how amazing an instrument this is, and that's not because I'm blowing, self-filleting or anything. This really turned out extremely nice. It is very comfortable. As Phil McKnight, if anybody watches these videos that he does, reviews of guitars, production line guitars, he calls this, when you grab the guitar at the joint between the neck and the body, calls that the handshake. And this is one of the most comfortable handshakes that I think I've ever had, whether it's me building it or whether it's another instrument. I usually end up getting annoyed by the heel. This is a really nice contour, and it feels really comfortable, and you can see it's easy to play. So, folks, reach out, ask me. We can strike a really good deal for you if you want. This is, as I said, the neck was a steel, and everything else is just really nicely handcrafted. It's not going to be out of many people's budget. Folks, thanks very much, and I'm going to fade to black now. Thank you.